Hi, I'm Nikki Felbert. I'm a filmmaker and continuous seeker of life's truth and natural magic. And here's where I get to share amazing interviews and findings with you, from people that have followed a calling and have a wealth of knowledge to share. This is Nico Zen. He was the first professional vegan mountain bike athlete in South Africa. And he's also a holistic health practitioner and works on the body. Did I get that right, Nico?
Yeah, I'm basically a holistic bodywork and healing practitioner.
Okay, so one of the things that I'm really interested in is that you had so much energy as a vegan athlete without eating meat. But how did you get there? So we'll get back to how you did it. How did you get there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So by nature, I'm a free spirit, and I'm very intrigued in finding my own truth and questioning stuff and being out of the confinements of laws and other people's belief system on how they do things in general. And this led me to a quest of finding perfect health and also being the best version of myself, living a life with purpose, with passion and integrity. And this led me to looking into aspects that support perfect health.
Right.
Perfect health as such is always, health is perfect in nature, because you have to understand that you have an intelligent health system that always supports you. It supports your body, and we often misinterpret what perfect health is. And even disease is a sign of perfect health, because it's basically just a warning sign.
Right.
Warning sign telling you that the homeostasis or the equilibrium and balance within your body is out of sync.
Yes.
And the manifestation of a disease, even cancer, is basically a blessing and a warning sign to wake you up that you have to look into what you are doing wrong or how you can live more in harmony, balance and health.
Right, and that's not just the food you take, but your whole lifestyle.
It is absolutely my whole lifestyle. And I have been practicing yoga, meditation for almost 15 years. And it led me to being a healthier and better version of myself. And also my passion is moving. I like adventuring. I like being out in nature. And I was seeking abundance in a way, what could support my nature as a free spirit and just the values and what I enjoy doing. And it became down that I love mountain biking, specifically the technical aspect of mountain biking. And I took it on as a vegan professional athlete. And
Wow.
I found sponsorship at a
Who sponsored you?
Yeah, my first sponsor was Bridge and Momsen Mount, a local South African mountain bike manufacturer.
Wow, that's amazing that the locals will support you as an athlete. So you must have been pretty good.
Yeah, the thing was, and my challenge was, I took on mountain biking into the realm of being sponsored and making a living out of it when I was in my early 40s.
Oh, wow.
So it was counter everybody's belief, or that a sponsor could find such an old athlete that could still be competitive against mostly athletes that were half my age. And therefore I had to look into the aspect again of finding perfect health and being the best version of myself. And that led me into listening into my body, first of all. And this is like an aspect in our society that we have lost, to have that intuitive and native knowing what is good and what is bad for you.
Yes.
And going often against all other beliefs.
Yeah, because there's a lot of media that tells you what's good for you.
Absolutely. There's the aspect of media, there's the aspect of marketing, of products, specifically in the athlete's realm, where there's like products for everything and everything. And they promise you to be better if you take that.
Yeah.
So you go against a lot of other conditioning, other habits, and other belief systems that have been ongoing for forever, for decades often.
So you really have to tune in to find what's right for you, because
Absolutely.
if you don't, there's so much other noise.
Yeah.
And so when you started, were you eating meat?
I wasn't.
Okay.
So I grew up in a meat-eating culture, like the most of us. And then about 20 years ago, I became vegetarian. And about 15 years ago, I became vegan. So I cut out dairy and all those other products.
So you could see the difference between eating dairy and your performance and not eating dairy and your performance.
There was definitely a big step and evolution into cutting out dairy, plus also wheat and refined carbohydrates.
Right. Wow. What do you eat?
Plants and seeds.
And nuts,
basically,
I guess, yeah.
And nuts, exactly. And yeah, it's a very important aspect that you really find what works for you.
Yeah.
Because one man's food is another one's poison. So you really have to be in sync. And again, this is my main take. Everybody is so beautifully different, and what works for one doesn't work for the other. Right. So you have to be really listening to yourself, and this is what we have lost. And it's a quality that I have pretty much nurtured through meditation, because in that stillness there is such a deep connection to yourself, and also a knowing that comes up. You know, you have the wisdom within, and nobody knows better than yourself. And often we empower other people to make decisions for us. And this is like my main motivation and take of empowerment.
It's not to not ask people, but to really still look within to go, what is actually right?
Yeah. The final decision making should be your gut instinct, your innate knowing and your wisdom. And we have been pretty much in a victim role where things are not going right within your body, within life circumstance, or that you want to improve in a certain aspect, and then you ask somebody else for advice. I call it the middleman.
Right.
And my take is to cut out the middleman, because nobody else knows better than yourself. And the answer.
But when you're stressed, sometimes you just can't cut out the clutter, and other advice is then helpful.
Yeah, from the stress you have to find stillness. Again, there's no way around that. You wanna the stress or the anxiety or whatever, or the fear that comes up is something that makes you run away and look outside on it inside. And then often if you're in a fear state, then you empower others, because you seek the savior, or however you want to call it, or the one that can help you outside. Yeah. But it's you have to start within yourself. That's my bottom line.
You're also a holistic health practitioner, so you are working on people's bodies to make them feel better, make their bodies feel better. Is that not a middleman?
It is an invitation, and I normally don't take the power onto me. I give people homework. So I'm basically in a consultation, I check what is out of balance, what is out of sync within your body, and often I give homework and advice how I can empower a person to look into those aspects, and having tools and certain ways of taking care of your body and preventing from your body going out of sync.
Yeah, so you don't just come for an amazing massage and realignment, you also get some advice to help yourself, to empower yourself.
Right. No, absolutely.
So that's your passion.
Yeah, that's my take, definitely, that I want to find the underlying cause and not work around the symptom. So I see certain, and it has helped me a lot. I have learned so much from patients, and as I'm very much in tune with my body, or if I work as an athlete on other athletes, then you can always find patterns and see how certain injuries, or ideally you want to prevent injuries, but how misalignment occurs and how you can prevent that from happening.
Right, that's very interesting, because you've been an athlete, that you can really, the patterning that you've seen with yourself and your colleagues as you deep in it then comes up for your clients now. So it was a natural progression to to help others and work on their bodies.
Absolutely, yeah. Just the aspect of helping others to become their best version, and seeing how interrelated and interconnected our body is in terms of all aspects, like meditation, the mental focus, but then also yoga. Just mentioning yoga, I've never really been to the gym, and I haven't done any other weight training to strengthen my body for the sport that I have been performing. Yoga did pretty much everything for me. The balancing, the alignment, the stretching, the strengthening, and I see tremendous value in that. Looking back 15 years, I haven't really been injured, and I have gained so much against other sports science and other athletes' advice or comments that if you do yoga you get injured and so forth and so forth, and I've always proven them wrong.
Yeah, you seem to prove quite a few mainstream thought wrong with being a professional athlete, having a plant-based diet, and also the other thing I like about the yoga is that it really comes back to the mind. That as you're doing each move or asana, you are connecting not only with your body but stilling the mind as well. And I imagine that plays a big role in the mindset of an athlete as well.
Absolutely. And the main point and tool that you use within yoga is actually your breath. Your breath connects body, mind and soul, and by becoming more aware of your breath, it connects you to the deeper sensations within your body and becoming in sync with your body, and eventually also quieting your mind. And breathwork was one of my key successes as being a professional mountain bike athlete. I started to become aware of how powerful the breath can be in oxygenating your blood on a deeper level, and how to breathe effectively. So breathing deeply into your diaphragm and all of that, doing nostril breathing. Like I've done 80-90% of my training just by breathing through the nose, even going up hills or putting in a stronger effort. So when you breathe through your nose, you really have to do one thing. You have to exhale effectively, and that's like the most important thing, to get rid of your carbon dioxide. Most of the people generally in life, and this is like also how can I be more healthy, how can I have more energy within daily life, your breath and breathing techniques are key to that. So if you breathe too shallow, there's always a certain amount of carbon dioxide that remains in your lungs. If you have a deep breath into your diaphragm and you tuck your navel in and exhale everything out, and then that free flow of the next breath comes in, then you start really getting more oxygen into your system, and practicing that over and over again. Like obviously in the competitions I was breathing through my mouth, but I still had that deep breath and exhalation, getting rid of the carbon dioxide, which then gives you a different edge. But in life generally, if we get into breathing more consciously and deeply, you have way more energy for whatever you set out to do.
Oh wow, I love that. Just also breathing into the diaphragm.
Huge.
So what can we do now? Like just be conscious of breathing into the diaphragm, be conscious of exhaling, maybe do an exercise where you exhale all your carbon dioxide. Anything else that we can do now to gain that energy?
Basically the depth of your breath, and the depth of the breath is within exhaling completely, within your diaphragm.
And you don't have to do that with every breath, right?
Not necessarily, but it helps. Specifically in moments where you want to calm yourself down or you want to energize yourself, stop only breathing very shallow into your breath, but focus more onto your navel and your diaphragm, where you tuck the navel in when you exhale and tuck it back in towards your rib cage. Then it's like a final, like I exhale completely. And then the inflow of breath.
It actually feels quite nice to do it. I can immediately feel a calming by doing that. Yeah, interesting.
Awesome.
The other thing I really wanted to ask you about is about the perception of having to eat meat as a protein in order to exude a lot of energy. So you've spoken about the breath giving you energy. Is that a counterpoint, or is it really that you found you didn't need to actually eat animal meat in order to have the protein in your body that you need in order to do all that exercise?
Yeah, perfect. That's basically the first question that I always get when people hear that I'm a vegan athlete. So where do you get your protein from? And there's such a misperception, and there's an overemphasis on the amount of protein that you have to take in. You just have to look into nature again and into evolution and see that the biggest and strongest mammals on Earth, they are plant eaters. If you talk about the elephants, the beautiful strong elephants.
Elephants are my favorite animal.
Absolutely. And also gorillas.
Oh, beautiful beings, beautiful animals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And there is something about those very large animals that are plant-based, that have a plant-based diet.
They're strong in nature, but intelligent and gentle at the same time.
Exactly.
And you have to see that there's also reason for that through what they eat.
Ping, light bulb moment.
Absolutely. I get into that just now, a little bit into more depth. But just not generally the misperception of that an athlete gets its main strength and power from protein, from an animal source of protein is not correct, and I could prove myself and others wrong. I was once invited to a sports supplement conference in Johannesburg, and I was invited to have a voice about my plant and vegan diet, countering Tim Nox's approach. He was also there, invited to talk about his meat, fat, basically banting diet type of approach. And I have proven everybody wrong, because at the beginning everybody said you're gonna be, you're running out of energy, you're gonna get injured, you're gonna be deficient in certain minerals like B12 and so forth, or vitamins, and it is a misperception. And if it was true, I couldn't have done what I have been doing. So when I became like a professional sponsored athlete, I had 26 consecutive podiums.
Wow.
And I introduced superfoods and also super herbs in that year. So I went a level deeper into finding nutrient-dense food that enhances your recovery, that reduces inflammation, that generally supports your endocrine system, your hormones, and gets your body into a better balance, and works with your innate body intelligence, and doesn't deplete your body from energy like a lot of supplements.
Can you give some examples so that we have something to aim for?
Yeah, and if we talk about superfoods, we're talking about nutrient-dense food. One of my prime superfoods specifically for athletes would definitely be spirulina. Yes. I prefer tablets form because I don't like the taste of spirulina as such. So
I put it in my smoothie.
Yeah, wonderful. If you can sort of mask it and
with
get around
some fruit sugars,
the tangy taste, then you found a way. That's perfect. Basically, spirulina is the prime source of protein. It has 75% protein per biomass, and if you look at protein from a meat source like beef, it has 35% protein per biomass, plus the absorption and the energy consumption to digest protein and really
protein as a meat plant-based protein takes a lot of time to digest.
Absolutely.
Which is a lot of energy.
It takes hours, days to fully digest, which takes a lot of energy that would be available for every other things you do in life, or as an athlete for generating power and endurance. And along from the meat digestion, there is a lot of acidity and other byproducts that are quite harmful or can be negative for your system. So definitely spirulina for the protein density. It also provides a certain amount of glycogen that is metabolized through your liver and not through your stomach. So if you want to have energy on the go while you're exercising, spirulina is one of the best sources. On top of it, it also has one of the highest mineral density or mineral contents as a density in the product or in the food source as such,
Right.
which then buffers and counters your acidity, which is also a key aspect when you're an athlete and you have a lot of lactic acid when you go into the anaerobic realm of pushing your body.
Yes, and that
to
can
exhaustion.
be quite painful, right? That lactic acid.
Absolutely, it can
Yeah.
be quite painful, and your muscles and your body then just shuts down and your performance goes down.
Right, so the spirulina can help counter that.
Absolutely.
Wow.
When I take spirulina tablets, it's like a reset button that you press, and through the high mineral content, it counters the acidity. So basically, if you look at the acidic alkaline balance, what determines or what identifies a food, if it's acidic or alkaline, is the mineral content. Yeah.
Okay.
The
very
mineral content
interesting.
is key to alkalize your body.
Okay.
And
So I can see why spirulina is called a superfood.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has so much going for it, so much going for our health.
Absolutely. And then also the key aspect of minerals is that 95% of your biochemical processes are actually mineral dependent or not vitamin dependent. So minerals are key for a lot of aspects of life and health.
Right. And so is it the minerals that help your body repair, or is it something else? What other foods are good for repairing for your body?
For repairing, we're talking predominantly about proteins, different forms of amino acids that help repair your body.
Okay.
In terms of also repairing, you want to have a lot of antioxidants that prevent your cells from oxidizing and breaking down up to a DNA level. So here we have definitely goji berries. Goji berries are a wonderful source. Also, it is a complete source of protein. A lot of people don't know that.
Really? I
Yeah.
did not know
Yeah.
that. I like goji berries.
Yeah.
It's one thing my daughter will eat.
Yeah.
One of the healthy things my daughter will eat.
Absolutely. And they have so many antioxidants and also polysaccharides that enable, good health and endurance and all those aspects to recover faster.
Sure. And then I like my rooibos tea as well for some antioxidants.
Absolutely.
So we also then go into the herbs.
A natural South African product. The herbs are very powerful, and the other supplements, natural supplements that go into the category of superfoods and super herbs would be grapeseed extract. So it's basically the skin of the grape. There's a red skin that is taken off, and then you can put it into powder form.
Okay.
And it is also super rich in antioxidants. So
Provided it's been organically grown.
provided it is
Yes.
organically grown ideally, and then it's also a natural blood thinner. So it provides your blood to be distributed in your body in an easier way, which then provides more nutrients and oxygen into your entire system. And it counters a lot of the most common diseases. And
That's super
ailments.
interesting. I didn't think about blood thinning as helping move the antioxidants and vitamins and minerals around your body, but it makes complete sense. I imagine that you don't always want to do that, so you don't want to always thin your blood.
Yeah, I take it actually as a daily supplement because the more nutrients, you have so many good things that you put into your body, but often it doesn't get to the places it should be because your blood is clogging up, specifically if you eat a lot of meat sources and meat fats, specifically pork, then your blood is completely thickened. So if you talk about your brain and the oxygen supply to your brain, and also certain tendons and if you talk about your fingers and ankles and those joints that often get
a bit sore sometimes,
quite stiff and sore,
yeah.
and often there is also inflammation through acidity, and if you have thinner blood and the nutrients get dispersed and the oxygen get to every cell of your body, then you have a healthier body as such.
Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you, Nico. And then we also touched on the intelligence of those animals that are eating a plant-based diet. Can you speak a bit more into that?
Yeah, there's definitely a huge aspect into the cell memory of food and meat. There's a big aspect that I looked into, and we just have to think logically what we are doing to the animals, how they are raised, how they are captured, they are forced fed, and how they die a violent death. So the whole life is about anger, how they live, how they're captured, fear, and trauma. And we all know that there's a memory, a cellular memory, that goes into, basically the meat or the food that we are eating. So if you just go and think a little bit before I have the meat or whatever I eat on the plate, what happened before that? If you look into animals that are also sacred beings, how have they lived? How have they been tortured? On top of that, you have a lot of antibiotics and even growth hormones and all the toxins that go into their food. And so
and then you're eating that.
And what you eat, this is what you become. And this is like also an aspect where you have to look into where does anger, where does fear come from? If you eat in a cellular structured way meat that has been how do you want to put
raised unhumanely.
Yes, absolutely. And this is what you put into your body, and this is what you become. So you become part of that fear and part of that anger and part of that aggression, and there's definitely a direct link to that.
I've noticed that as well with people around me when they do eat meat, specific kinds of meat as well as worse. So that's definitely something that I've seen. So yeah, if you do eat meat, it's definitely worth looking into finding a good source of that meat. If it's because you speak to a lot of people and they go, oh no, I'm O positive, I can't stop eating meat. I'm like, I'm O positive, I don't eat meat. But then I'm not always very active. I have moments of being active. So then I don't have that personal experience of it. What can you say about that O positive? Is it a myth?
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. There's certain books and studies about different blood types.
Yes.
And blood type O is basically the eldest blood type of our evolution, which is the meat eater. Then we have a certain evolution of blood types which went into A, B, and B. B, which is the most recent blood type, which is more versatile. I'm blood type A. Generally, you can say blood type A's are more the plant-based vegetarian type of blood types, and then A, B, and B are a mix of them, and through evolution the blood type B has adopted to be more able to eat different foods without having negative effects. So what determines a blood type on the bottom line is basically the digestive enzymes. So the digestive enzymes are key if what you take can be digested and absorbed into your body into an efficient and into a productive way. As a blood type A, I have experienced if I eat meat or if I ate meat many years ago, I felt very tired, I couldn't sleep so well, I would dehydrate, and I felt very lethargic because your body tries to digest and produce the enzymes to change the protein or the meat into something that the body can utilize. But as it gets too tired and lazy, then it just stores it into fat and not into metabolize it into energy or into muscle mass.
Fat and acid as well, acidity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, even as a blood type O, I've definitely found when I ate meat, also many years ago, it made me more tired, and that is something that I do struggle with.
Yeah.
But another myth is absorbing iron. Like, how do you get iron if you don't eat meat? And I've found that eating having a plant-based iron I can absorb it so much better. I don't absorb the iron out of meat either.
Yeah, iron is just like a buzzword, and it's a very important one, specifically for women, which can get anemic, and then you just don't have enough oxygen supply because iron is basically the carrier of oxygen. So spirulina, again, one of my favorite superfoods, has a 500 times higher iron content than spinach. You know, like if you talk about iron, often we come to spinach, to Popeye and spinach and those incredible forces. But again, you find it in spirulina. And generally saying, if we eat a big variety of different plants, seeds and nuts, we complement. Some of the plant source proteins are not complete, but having and mixing them up throughout the day, we can ensure that we always have the complete spectrum of amino acids, and there's no lack of anything.
What does a normal day of food look like for you?
That's a good question. So I start every day with a green juice. Often when I travel or just out of convenience, I went pretty much into drinking wheatgrass. So in a powderized form, organic wheatgrass or barley grass. And then I put some drops of vitamin D3 in and K2, which is very important for all aspects of health as well. And then I take about 15 spirulina tablets, a handful.
15?
Wow. A good handful of spirulina tablets. And often I take grapeseed extract, I take MSM, which is an organic form of sulfur, which is very good. And then, so that's basically the start of my day on an empty stomach.
So that's quite a boost. I was just thinking as well, I need to take more spirulina. My little scoop of spirulina in my smoothie doesn't sound like 15 tablets worth.
Yeah, you can really high dose it and reap more benefit. And then I normally make a smoothie, a superfood smoothie. So what do I put in there? Chia seeds, some dates, then maca. We haven't spoken about maca root powder. It is an ancient superfood from South America, from Peru, which is also called the gold of the Incas. The warriors would take them to go into battle and war. It gave them a lot of stamina and endurance. And maca is also an adaptogen, so it helps your body to reduce stress and to rebalance your hormones.
Oh, I like that one.
And that's very important for the aspect of hormonal balance. Specifically, also a lot of men are low in testosterone because there's too much progesterone and estrogen. No more estrogen than progesterone. That's like a female hormone. But the hormone balance is often out of sync, and specifically if you want to come to perfect health, if you want to recover faster as an athlete, you have to look into also testosterone, which is basically rebuilding your tissues and your body, also including growth hormones. If your growth hormones are not are suppressed and they are not stimulated enough, then
So it's balancing the hormones. It doesn't mean that a woman shouldn't take too much of it because it will raise her testosterone. It just means that it's balancing that, and it will give you.
Absolutely, it works with your body intelligence. It's not like a synthetic type of hormone that is injected or that is out of your natural production cycle. As a woman, you have an add-on benefit as well, fertility. So if I've helped quite a lot of women when they were battling to fall pregnant, maca, and for women also reishi and ashwagandhas are perfect herbs and superfoods that complement health in that aspect.
Sure, this is, I mean, this is one of my favorite subjects is health and how to feel better, because at the end of the day, happiness is also, if we're feeling tired or not good in the body, it's more difficult to be light and happy. So yeah, you've given so much interesting information. Is there anything else that you feel to add?
I wanted to say that I'm not proclaiming a specific diet, because I don't believe in diets. As I mentioned firsthand, everybody is different, but you should create more awareness of and intuit what food is good for you, and also question logically where it comes from, what is in the food, how wholesome is your food, and how close can I get it from nature directly onto my plate. And I don't believe in diets because it has to become part of your lifestyle. I don't see that if you try something for a while, if your aim is weight loss, then you have a certain success and then you fall back to old habits. It doesn't work. And so cutting out the bad stuff is very important, like refined carbohydrates or any other form of nutrient that is creating inflammation, which is creating acidity, should be taken out of our diet. You can always go to the 80-20, that you eat 80% healthy, and then if you eat out or if you're at a friend's place, then you make the exception. Basically, diet and my whole take of becoming the best and healthiest version of yourself should be everybody's basically prime goal, because once you have perfect health but also mental clarity, and with that comes you're happy that you live a life full of passion and fulfillment. And I think that's very important to be also like a healthy person.
Yeah, that's a great message. Thank you so much. I've got a lot out of our chat.
We could chat about it for another 2 hours.
We definitely could.
But
I could.
We were scratching the surface, and it is just an invitation basically to everybody to question more, to find out your truth that is in line with your nature, with your uniqueness. And therefore, if you dive into that, you can find so many beautiful documentaries and resources, and also see what impact it has on a bigger scale. The carbon footprint we didn't mention of a vegan or vegetarian diet. There's so many pluses to it, and there's alternatives, and we have only a misperception, and we are caught up in wrong beliefs and what everybody else is doing. So be also a little bit of a free spirit, and do things differently and try things differently. There's no harm in trying generally, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely would be maybe a first goal to try that out for a month.
Absolutely.
And see how you feel, see the difference in your body.
Yeah, I'm pretty much an experiential person, so I want to see and experience how things affect my body, how I feel, how it changes my life. And it works for some people, it and it might not work for others. So you have to find out and intuit really what is it that your body needs and wants.
Sounds like the birds are agreeing with you.
Yeah, and maybe it's also a sign to come to a conclusion and an end.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the NixyPod podcast. Please do subscribe.